Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at the books about books that I've received over the last sort of 12 months or so that I think will probably make really good presents either for yourself, spending a gift card, or maybe just to put in a little list to get someone to buy for you for Christmas. So I do hope you enjoy the selection. So sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Right, so we'll start off with this one. This is a large format paperback book. It's Dangerous Visions and New Worlds, Radical Science Fiction, 1950 to 1985. Now this one actually went on and won a couple of awards. It's that good. Edited by Andrew Nett and Ian McIntyre. This is sort of the third one that they've produced, and I personally think it's the best one because it's just so much great science fiction in here, but there are a couple others that they've done as well. And as you can see, it's a sort of real in-depth, and it's a literary analysis of the SF genre, and it really is very, very good indeed. It's a cracking read, this one, and I'm sure if you're a bit of a fan of SF, this one definitely needs to be in your library. It's good stuff. Great sort of short essays and articles on different aspects of the SF genre, and right back to the 1960s as well. So I would recommend this one if you've not come across it. Actually, it's beautifully illustrated. It really is a nice gift book. I just wish it had come out in hardback. In actual fact, I think it's that good. So a great one to begin with. Now, the next one came out, and this one is by Michael Stradford. And this one's looking at the model Steve Holland, the world's greatest art model. So illustration art model. So he was on Steve Holland, the man, was used as a model on countless book jackets and posters and all sorts of things. He was a model for artists. Famously, he was Doc Savage and all those great Doc Savage books. And this book here looks back at his career. Obviously, you've got lots of the photos that were staged and then used on later book jackets and posters. It really is a great book, this. And there's contributions from people who worked with him as well. It's and loads from his archive. It's just fantastic, as you can see. Highly recommended, this one. It's brilliant. If you're a fan of those great men's adventure paperbacks, you're going to really love this one. It's superb. Actually, it's a huge old book. Highly recommended. Yeah, I really enjoyed reading this one. So that's Steve Holland, the world's greatest illustration art model. So next up, we've got Paperback Fantastic. And this is a 3-volume series. The first one came out on science fiction. Then the second one was on fantasy. And then the third one was on horror. Now, these are published and edited by Justin Marriott. And he's got a huge history with paperback fanzines. And they're designed by Bill Cunningham. And they're absolutely gorgeous. So each one looks at it's got sort of capsule reviews of each genre, and I found these beautifully laid out, as you can see here. It's great design on it, and some really great articles as well, and reviews. What I tend to do when I go through these is make a little list of the books that I've liked the sound of the review, and I thought, I really want to try that one, and I create a little wants list, and through these I've been able to find all sorts of stuff. They're not expensive. Like all the books here, I will put links to it all to buy on Amazon or eBay in the description down below, and also the publisher's websites direct if I know them. Here's the look at the fantasy one here. So it's a similar sort of format to the first one here. See, absolutely stacked with stuff. Really great stuff here. And then we've this last one that came out was on horror. And I think these are really great. So, as I said, they're not expensive. You really do get good value for money with these. So, good stuff. Similar magazine style, but these are focusing on the men's adventure magazines of the late 50s, 60s and 70s. Is Men's Adventure Quarterly. I have done dedicated reviews of each issue of the Men's Adventure Quarterly, but I didn't want to do like a review or best of the year without including a couple of issues, and here are the last two. And this one was on sort of heist. It says the heist issue, so on sort of heist films, books, that sort of thing. This one here was on, it says the Dirty Mission issue. So this is on Dirty Dozen style stories that appeared in the men's adventure magazines as well. So both of these very, very good. You may even want to create a subscription, so you can go directly to the website. Once again, a link below to sign up for a subscription, or just buy a few individual issues off Amazon, whatever you would prefer. So good stuff, those. Next, we've got a book, which was another great one from part of the Men's Adventure Library, published by New Texture. They did a few books this year, and they're all fantastic. This particular one looked at artist George Gross, or George Gross, however you want to pronounce it. And he was, as you can see, you've seen this style of artwork before. It's edited by Robert Dyson Whitehall, and it's a real labour of love, this, and a great book, as you see, packed with fantastic stuff that you'll really want to explore and spend a bit of time looking at, because they're just fantastic. And these original magazines, of course, are so expensive nowadays. It's a really nice way to get all the glorious detail and colour out of these without actually having to own the magazines. So it's a good one, that. George Gross Uncovered, another one highly recommended. So this next one is an absolute beast of a book. I really enjoyed this one. It's Pollen In Print, 1955 to 1959. So it's the art of Samson Pollen in chronological order. Once again, it's from New Texture and features all the artists' complete work, all those great double page spreads and covers. Right, in a chronological order, right back to his earliest pieces. And as you can see, it's great stuff. Beautiful book, that one, and one that you would really sort of pore over. Now this one actually came out last year, and it's a huge book, so let me pull the camera even further. Okay, so this one actually was published last year, but it was superb. I mean, still a really great book. So The Art of Pulp Fiction, An Illustrated History of Vintage Paperbacks, Ed Hulse, introduction by Richard Lupoff. And it really is published by IDW. You can still get this one online today, and I shall just flick through because I have done a dedicated review last year. But as you can see, it's in glorious colour, and it's full of absolutely fantastic high quality reproductions of classic paperbacks and American ones, of course. This is an American book, but I think it's one that, you know, if you're at all interested in this sort of thing, it needs to be on your shelf. It's so good. Absolutely fantastic. Once again, sort of broken down into genres, and it's a real great book, this one. It really is. I was so impressed with this when I saw it. One of the best books of its kind in many years, which is why, even though it was published about this time last year, I wanted to not miss it out, because you may not know about it. So you can see it's great stuff. Beautiful. So that's the Art of Pulp Fiction. Huge book. Now, a similar one that came out, a similar sort of thing, but this one's only just been published as I film this, is this one. This is a British publication, or a British author at least, but I believe the publisher is in America. But it's Rayguns and Rocketships, vintage science fiction book cover art. So it's very much specific to science fiction. And I will just flick through. As I said, I've done dedicated videos of these, but similar to the last one, but absolutely stacked with fantastic colour reproductions, predominantly British science fiction paperbacks and some hardbacks rather than the American stuff. And this was really knockout. All the sort of publishers that I collect myself, it was just superb to see so many. And as you can see, this is just terrific. It's so good. So it's a real marvel. And you'll spend a lot of time looking through this and poring over every single page because it's so good. So definitely put this one onto your wants list, because I think you're going to really enjoy it. So Rayguns and Rocketships by Ryan Hughes, and I think he did the design of it as well. Beautiful sort of 50s style. I just love everything about this one. It's a great book. So that's definitely recommended. Another entry in the Men's Adventure Library Journal. I'm not sure if this one came out this year, but I certainly read it this year. It may have been tail end of last year, but I absolutely loved it. And it was one on, well, it's called Maneaters. It's on killer sharks and killer shark stories within the Men's Adventure magazines. I really like this little compact hardback format. And there was some absolutely knockout stories in here. I just loved it. Mixed in with some sort of non-fiction articles as well. Saying, they got some experts in to say, well, look, how feasible would this story have actually been? And Well, it's great, really, really good. They're not expensive, and once again, available through Amazon, so I would recommend those. Now, the next thing, something a little bit different. So this is Paperback Parades. This is like a vintage paperback. You could call it a fanzine. It's more a magazine than a fanzine, but it looks at different, each issue. It's got lots of contributors who write regular columns, but they usually have like a headline issue. Like that's looking at some of the Gothics there. This is one on Star Trek. It's been going a long, long time. It's by far the longest running regular paperback magazine. It's published by Gary Levisi, Gryphon Books over in the States. It's 4 times a year. Highly recommended, Paperback Parade. You can find them on their website, Gryphon Books, and Gary, the editor, does in fact sell them online. So highly recommended that one. I also had 3 books come through from Stark House Press, and it's 3 absolute beauties. So we'll start with this one because it's also by Gary Levisi, who writes and publishes for Paperback Parade. And this is his look. It's the Sherlock Holmes notebook, a cornucopia of Sherlockania, and it is absolutely great. So all lots of different aspects about Conan Doyle and the Sherlock Holmes books. There's things on trading cards and stage plays and some of the different movies and the pastiches as well. I found it absolutely fascinating. I read that one on holiday. Also from Stark Press and published around the same time was a Lone Wolf double, the first 2 Lone Wolves. They've done the entire series now by Barry N. Malsberg. Really great sort of revenge story, that one. And this is a Harry Whittington double, Ticket to Hell and Hell Can Wait, with a really great jacket and a fantastic introduction by Tom Simon, who goes back to Harry Whittington's hometown to see if he can track down anyone who actually might have known him. And it's a great read. So all 3 of those from Stockhouse Press come recommended. So this one came my way fairly recently, and it's one that sort of came under my radar, but thankfully I was alerted to it by the editor, Stephen Jones. So I'm a big fan of Badger books, and I have to admit I've only read perhaps a dozen over the years, so I've got far more than that in my collection, but it's not the sort of thing I turn to all the time. However, this is a new collection by Lionel and Patricia Fanthorpe. So Lionel Fanthorpe wrote a massive amount of the original Badger books, and these are new stories in the Badger style, fully illustrated. It's got a little history about how the Badger books were written at the time. It's got an interview with Fanthorpe as well from Justin Marriott. It's a really, really great book, this one, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's great, nice format. I can't wait to dip into this. I only received it like a week and a half or so ago, so I've not had a chance to go through it, but I've read the introductions and the interview, and they're absolutely excellent. There he is there. I met Lionel a couple of times at shows back in the 90s, and I got him to sign some of my Badger books, and I think if you're a Badger fan, it's the sort of thing, as you can see, you recognise the style of the cover there and the yellow spine. If you're into Badger books, it's definitely one that you want to pop on your radar. So now something for the vintage penguin collectors, and that's the Penguin Collectors Society, and they publish the Penguin Collector magazine. So you can join if you've got someone, either yourself or someone you know is into collecting vintage penguin books. They really ought to be a member of the Penguin Collectors Society. So I do heartily recommend it. They publish 2 magazines like this per year, and usually a special as well on a particular subject. Very, very high quality, and as you can see, great publication. I've been a member since, well, almost 30 years now, so which is as long as I've been collecting vintage penguins. So I do recommend it. The next issue is, they publish one sort of in the new year in January, one in the summer. So the next issue is number 99, and in the summer it'll be issue 100, incredibly. So the Society's been around since the mid-70s, and really is quite something. And although it's not massive, if you've got someone you know, or if you yourself collect vintage penguin books, I highly recommend joining. And they do have a whole raft of penguin related books on their website for you to take a look at. Now these next books, these have just been published, so just recently. These are brand new, and these are more aimed at the person who might be a complete book lover rather than perhaps a vintage book collector. But I am a book lover and a collector, and I just love these. So these are what they call Penguin Little Clothbound Classics. They're published by Penguin. They're a small format, as you can see, and there's going to be 48 of these in total. So these 3 here were from the first selection, which was the autumn selection, and these are probably my favourite 3 from that run. They got the Mask of the Red Death here, Metamorphosis, Franz Kafka, and Italo Calvino Cosmicomics. They're designed by Coralie Bickford Smith. Beautiful as presents, $9.99 each. What I mean, just gorgeous. Now, the second selection, the winter selection, has just been published. And although I've not got any in the house yet, they are on their way. So look out for a dedicated sort of video on those. But I have done a video on these. And once again, I'll put links to all of these in the description below. Now, these are the smaller cousins of these, which have been published for, well, over a decade now. And these are the larger Penguin Clothbound classics. And I brought down a few to show you that I've picked up this year that I just love. So Hand of the Baskervilles we've got, Around the World in 80 Days. And you can see the same designer, Carly Bickford Smith, beautifully designed. They've got the, sometimes they have new introductions in, which are good. And they've got a bookmark as well there. See the bookmarks in each one. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And there's a real lovely edition of that 1984. So they come recommended, and there's a huge library of those to go through. I forget exactly how many. I think they must be almost at 100 now, almost. So there's bound to be something in there that would appeal to you. So this last book we're looking at here is, once again, it was published around this time last year, but they haven't done anything similar this year. By Henry Elliott. It's the Penguin Modern Classics books. Once again, it's Clothbound. It's a huge, huge tome, and it looks at the complete history of the Penguin Modern Classics, and it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So they're virtually all pictured right the way from the very earliest ones. And if you are a fan of the Penguin Modern Classics, and I most definitely are, I think you'll really, really love it. So it's not in chronological order. It's sort of split by continents and by where the authors are hailing from. But it's very, very good. You can see it's incredible work, really. And he must have spent days, weeks, months even in the Penguin archives going through and looking at these. So, you know, this is a really, really nice gift book if you know someone who's into penguin or penguin collecting, and if they've not already got it, then highly recommended. I think you'll go down very well. It's only £25. What a great book for the money. I mean, really superb. Once again, I don't think it's ever been paperbacked. It's just this gorgeous hardback edition, but it's the sort of book you wouldn't want it in any other format, would you? So there you go. I hope you enjoyed looking through that little selection of books that I've received over the last sort of 12 months or so. A few of them a little bit longer than that, but I think these all make fantastic Christmas presents or even birthday presents throughout the year. So hope you found a little bit of inspiration there and a few little books to add to your Christmas list. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up, and do please hit the subscribe button for regular vintage book content, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.